Hello everybody, my name is Don Ken, and I'm here with Mark Richardson, who in my mind is an expert in the air purification field. And my guess is the fact that you're watching this video, it tells me that you are either pretty educated in air purifiers and you're looking for one to buy, or you're someone maybe who's new to this whole field but realizes the dangers and the concerns of the air pollution inside our home. Now, one piece of information before I pass this on to Mark is that there's a lot of research out there to prove that the air inside our home is anywhere from 5 to 10 to, in some extreme cases, 100 times dirtier than the air outside our window. I find that amazing to think about, that we're breathing this air in all day long while we're in the home, including while we're sleeping. Now, Mark has a lot of experience with air purification systems because of an illness he had when he was young. And Mark, I think you said you've had something like 50 different air purifiers?
Yeah, over my life I've owned 50, and I think I've researched and looked at and done some consulting on over 100. And it started probably when I was in my early teens. I had a lot of asthma and allergies as a kid, and started with those old little ionizers back then, and then went on to ozone machines and HEPA machines, and pretty much owned everything back then initially because I was really looking for ways to breathe better. When you can't breathe, there's nothing worse. Try to relieve the allergies some, and then finally I did find some cure for the allergy and the asthma.
It really helped you.
So that helped a lot, yeah. And then I just found that, boy, there's a lot of health benefits if you have the right air purifier in your home.
And speaking of the right air purifier, I know there are purifiers out there that have one or two technologies, and now there's some new purifier that's come on the market that has up to 9 technologies. And I just want to share one quick story on that, and then get your feedback on this if I can, Mark. I had my first air purifier when I was about 1990. And just loved it. It really helped me a lot. I felt such a difference in the air in the home. And then my parents passed on to me a couple of air purifiers I kind of inherited that were name brands, big air purifiers that had, I think, what they call HEPA filters in them. And that was just a few years ago. And I remember the first time I turned it on, I couldn't believe how noisy they were. And also, I frankly did not feel it cleaned the air the way I was expecting from the past purifier. So here are these big machines, name brand, a lot of money, a lot more money than what I paid for the others. And at the same time, I just really couldn't even turn it on. It was so noisy.
Yeah, well, the technology has changed, but a lot of the air purifiers being manufactured still use the old technology. And in terms of the noise, it used to be that the motors had brushes in them. Well, then computers came along, and little fans you have in the back of your computers are brushless motors. They're quiet, they'll run for years, they're very efficient. They're just better than the brush kind of motors that you find in the old air purifiers. And even some of the air purifiers sold in infomercial today are loud. They're using the old technology. So that was one of the advances of air purification. But they're actually, I knew of 7 technologies for purification. And then when I was shown this Alive Air machine, it has 9 technologies. It includes a couple I knew nothing about. So, that was exciting to me. A couple friends called me, and they said, hey, we know you do a lot with air purifiers with your patients and clients and stuff, and you've known about them a long time. We want to show you the one we have. And I was like, oh, they're on the infomercials so much. They've been promoted so much. Why would anybody possibly want to come out with another air purifier, And then I saw it. And it had HEPA, which is your cloth-looking filter which collects pollen and soot. And that's something the infomercial ones don't have. And it's the best for allergies. It had your electrostatic, which is like the ones you see on television. These plates you can wash, and it actually, collects soot.
And that by itself, though, the electrostatic,
yeah,
not very effective, is it really?
No, but they're very inexpensive to make, so they're very profitable.
I see.
And if you're doing an infomercial, you've got to mark up the cost of your product 7 times, even more than sold in stores. So they leave a lot of the technology out. Why just expensive to retool, expensive to sell, so they're not giving you the best technology because they can sell you on the cheaper technology and make more money. So when I saw this, not sold in stores, not sold in infomercials, and yet less than the ones on infomercial, I was excited. But mostly I was excited about the technology, that here's finally somebody put together all 7 technologies and 2 new technologies all in one. So you have pre-filter for hair and dust, it's like a screen door. You have HEPA, you have your UV, which kills germs, bacteria, mold, and viruses. You've got your TiO2, which is germicidal. You've got your carbon, which absorbs odor. You've got your electrostatic, like the ones you see on infomercials, which are okay. They collect soot really well. And so you had all of them built in. So I'd never seen somebody put them all together.
Ionization, right?
Oh, I forgot that. Ionization.
Yeah.
Yeah, the negative ionization, which is very common, very inexpensive, but that's actually what makes the difference in energy level and mental alertness, and even it affects brain chemistry in a positive way. When you go out to a lake or the ocean or out in the country, part of the reason you feel so good out there because in nature you've got a higher level of negative ions, maybe sometimes 10,000 per billion or so. Indoor air, city air, you might find 1,000 or less. And these negative ions are actually things you take into your body. They actually affect your brain chemistry in the body. So, and a lot of purifiers have ionization, but it's less of a cleaner. It's more of a make the air feel really healthy and actually give you more alertness.
Yeah, ionization is one of the technologies that I had. Actually, just 2 technologies back in the early '90s. One of them was ionization. The other one was ozone. I loved the effect of the ionization.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. It's such a benefit to have that as one of the technologies, not the only by any means, but
Right.
one of the technologies because of the charge it puts in the air and the way it makes you feel, in your brain, in your mind, in your thinking, your creativity and all. Also, though, I used ozone back then. I know there's been some controversy on ozone over the years. Tell us a little bit
Well,
about
a lot of it, and what really happened is Consumer Reports came out with an article, I think it was 2 years ago, and that article blasted the Sharper Image model, which was the top-selling infomercial brand, so there was more of them on the market than anything else. They were making a fortune on it, and that was a unit that didn't have a fan, and it just put ozone out into the air. Now, ozone is just oxygen, which is O2, but with an extra molecule added, making it O3, and it's very unstable, that extra molecule. But that instability is what allows it to latch on to odor and then some mold and viruses, so it's effective for those things. Problem with ozone is you have too much ozone and actually can damage or irritate your lungs. And so the EPA has a level that's a safe level, and this air purifier was putting out too much ozone. Even though computers, refrigerators, everything puts out ozone to some extent, any electrical system does. So anyway, they got pulled off the market, so there's a big ozone scare. But there are ways to clean and purify the air without ozone and also get the benefit of it. So ozone's popular and controversial because too high levels meant that a lot of purifiers are really not safe for your health.
Right. Tell us a little bit about this Alive Air, if you will. And
Sure.
One of the things that I was impressed with when I turned this on was how quiet it was.
Yeah, it's very quiet. It's a quiet mode, and I sleep with one in my room. And when my friends first approached me about this, the ones that designed this, my thought was I don't really want to market an air purifier because there's so many on the market, But besides the 7 technologies I've never seen put together before, all the purification and cleaning and all that all in one, because most purifiers you see only have 2, 3, sometimes 4. This one has 9. So the 7 I knew, and then the 2 additional technologies that just blew me away. And the one I thought was really cool was there were these 3 sensors here for pollen, odor, and dust. So it automatically detects whether there's pollen in the air, whether there's an odor,